Memory spirits give me days full of words I've forgotten or never been taught. The language in my cells that won't come out. Daughters of memory and patricide. I practice making their shapes with my tongue against teeth. A story of soundless singing, a meditation. I am stone. I am cracked stone.
Poetry is a story that is boiled down to its absolute minimum. A poet is a person who sees the details and also sees what they might mean. Midsummer 2017, I was named Poet Laureate of San Francisco. It's a little strange because essentially what they do is they've taken somebody who sits by themselves in a corner away from humans doing this weird little nerdy thing, and they haul me out and put me in front of people. I have 4 books and I've been in dozens of anthologies and probably about 100 journals. But I am a word nerd from the word Indians. I mean, that's who we are really. We're like the word Indians, aren't we? Cherokees, right? But in my family, I'm absolutely not the most impressive person. I'm descended from more impressive people. 2 of my grandmother's cousins were Will Rogers and Ned Christie. I mean.
Some mornings we were counting the water, inventing tools and measures, tasting deep the hills that changed us all. Some afternoons we've been counting the politics, tent by tent on the street, refugee by river, hollow frog by highway turtle. Some nights find us reworking clan relationships. What will we stay home for, hoping that we can keep a few things that make us happy? Meanwhile, the storm is stripping the snowpack. Adam's plants on the front porch are tossed with the angry gems of hail. New-cut eucalyptus burning without flame in the living room. Isn't the light beautiful? The measure of water is 7 or 16, but it's always 1. Whatever other number water is, it's 1.
I walk a lot, it like blows the dust off. And then I get very, very aware of the things that are around me.
So that sound really makes me happy. You can tell a lot with what's going on with the creek as well, because sometimes it's louder and sometimes it's softer. And when it's softer, it burbles more.
In the Golden Gate Recreational Center, the Presidio specifically, they're daylighting the streams that have been piped under. And the changes are happening so quickly, and you can see the indigenous plants and creatures kind of coming back really quickly. Anytime I ever saw, when I was little, I ever saw like a broken watch or anything, I wanted to fix it. This is like a really complex mechanism, these hillsides, and they're a little broken right now, but they're getting the attention they need to thrive again, and that's pretty exciting. Since I've become Poet Laureate, I've taken this on poetically to map this place. Nothing exists outside of a community, So everything moves together to make it all work. That's where my writing comes from, is like making those connections. Where is the community trigger and how do I push it? I think I'm working out with poems what would make us have that empathy for one another in a moment when we aren't in tragedy. I read a book called Rabbit Stories. I read that story because I think we're at about 80 years of any time in literature or movies you wanted a tragic character. The easiest tragic character is a Native person. And I don't think it serves the community particularly to not recognize that people's challenges are great, but I also think what we also need is an ability to say, you know, it can be okay. The literature and the artwork of that place, the place where things turned out okay. I'm a weaver and a basket maker and also a bead artist as well. I'm probably more a bead artist these days than anything else. But really all of the different things I do are just different ways of telling the story. I work with the beings out of the stories that I remember. You know, I bead spider and I bead rabbit and I bead the bear, and the characters are all Cherokee characters. They're all from our mythology. Texture's a really big deal for me, so I use a lot of different size beads in the same piece. And I'll also use incredibly close colors, like 15 of them. My partner gets one of these every year we're together. He's a big baseball geek. But they're all kind of funny. They've all kind of got a funniness to them. And I did one that's got gar on it, that's a nice catch. And I've done one with frogs on it that's called a funny hop. I don't know, I've always been a big old nerd, and I'm really stubborn and curious, and I get my hook into an idea, or I want to know how to do something, and I'll just mess with it until I'm satisfied.
Southeastern women know some songs about turtles. The night of the storm, I dreamed turtles in rhododendron colors. Turtles like decorative cabbages coming through the basement door. For hours between the blowing rain, they asked for poems about water and pond, poems like penny frogs, like locust prayers humming in the water. One old lady turtle wanted a prayer like a falling